this week, a friend shared with me about a big and bold decision that she had taken to do her part to ensure that her kids would have a vibrant Jewish future. And when she told it to me, I was absolutely shocked. And I said to her, like, what? Because last week we had sat together and she had told me all the different reasons about why she couldn't do it. So I was really, really surprised. And as I was trying to get my head around it, she said a comment that made me stop and think. And she says, I don't know, maybe we haven't thought about it. Or that's just us. We just jump into it. And I was thinking about it. And I was thinking about thinking and sometimes overthinking. And there's a lot of talk about strategic planning and thinking things through and the big picture. And I was thinking to myself, how does it all fit in? And I realized, my friends, this is in fantastic company, because we have a crazy story that takes place in this week's parasha. You may have heard it before, but I'm going to tell it to you and listen to it and think about how crazy it is. We hear about Moses. And one of the first stories we hear where Moses is an active part in his life is this. He's growing up as the stepdaughter of Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh. So he's in actuality growing up as the step-grandson of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, the most powerful person. And he goes out. We're told he goes out to see what's going on in Egypt. And he sees what's going on. And Egypt was corrupt. The Jewish people were living under the most inhumane conditions. They were forced to work hard. The Egyptians would oppress them. And he goes out and he sees a Jewish person being beaten by an Egyptian. And listen to what he does. What he does is he kills the Egyptian. Now, we hear the story and we don't really think much about it, but stop for a moment and let's try and imagine it. Here it is that we're told that Pharaoh recognized that Moses was a child prodigy. He was someone who was being groomed for leadership. If you or I were being a consultant to Moses at that point, we would tell him, stop. We know you care. We know that your heart is breaking to see a Jewish brother being beaten up. But think of the big picture. Think of the big picture. What's going to happen next if you kill this Egyptian? You may or may not save this Jewish person for a little bit until another Egyptian comes and beats him up. But what happened to Moses next is he goes from being this child genius prodigy who's being groomed for leadership to a fugitive who's being hunted down in Egypt. He sacrificed everything. We would have told him, think of the big picture. Wait till you can become more in power, and then maybe you'll be groomed, you'll be the heir to Pharaoh, who knows, and then you could make a big change. So why on earth does Moses do this crazy thing and go and sacrifice it all to kill this Egyptian, to save this Jewish person that was being beaten up? And I think I want to tell you another story which kind of really brings the point home of why he would do it. There's an anecdote that's told of a Jewish grandmother, it could be any grandmother, the truth is, that was walking along the streets, and vision's not so good, but she sees a little kid crying, and she turns to the adult that's with the kid and says, "What's going on?" And they say the child fell and he scraped his knee and he's crying, and the woman says, "Oh, don't worry, it's all going to be fine." And as she walks a bit closer, she realizes that that's her grandchild, right? And what she does is she stops and she cries and she goes and says, "Oh my goodness, is he okay? Is he okay?" Why the sudden change? Why the sudden change? Because before it was just a kid. Now it's her grandchild. Now she cares. When Moses went out and he saw that Jewish person being beaten up, yes, the rational part of us might tell him, stop, don't do that. Think of the big picture, strategic planning, long-term planning, and definitely there's a place for all that. But when it's your kid, you do it. Right? And Moshe, he cared so much. He had such passion. He loved the fellow Jews, his fellow Jews so much that I can't watch someone being beaten up and not do anything, and he killed it. And thank goodness for us that he did that, because what happened next, we know the end of the story. Yes, Paro sent him out and he was a fugitive. But you know what? Hashem chose him to be the leader of the Jewish people. And he changed world history. He was the one that came and stopped the Holocaust that was going on in Egypt. He saved the Jewish people. And not just then, but forever. He's our inspiration. Whether there's a movement for freedom, Moses is the inspiration because he cared enough to do it. He cared enough to do it, to just do it. And I want to share just one more amazing story. There was a rabbi, and he heard of a child that needed something done, and it was the day before Yom Kippur in Israel. And he said to someone who he knew could help, he said, "I want you to go and try and get what you need done." And the guy, the person said to him, "What do you mean? Like it's the day before Yom Kippur, everything's closed. I'll do it right after Yom Kippur. I can't do it today." And he turned to him and he said, "You can, you don't want to." And when he heard that, he stopped and he thought, and he said. So he went ahead and he did it, and of course he got to the department, and everything was closed. There was one person left in the office, and he said to him, "Can this child needs this thing? Can you get it done for him?" And he says, "Sure, come back after Yom Kippur, and I'll do it for you." And he says, "No, I need it now. I need it done now." And he stood his ground, and he got it done. And then he went back to the rabbi, the Brisker rabbi, and he said, I got it done. And he realized this is what the rabbi was teaching him, that sometimes we say, "I can't," but what we're really saying is, "I don't want to." And the flip side of it is that sometimes we don't know, can we, can't we? Moses easily could have walked in and said, "I'm just one person, I can't say them all." But he didn't allow that to be an excuse for inactivity. And my friend, too, did the same thing. It's easy to turn around and say, "You know what? Who knows what's going to be?" Right? Who knows what sort of Jewish future my kids are going to have? There's this, there's that, there's the other. But she didn't let that stop her. She didn't let that stop her from saying, "You know what? I am going to take this big and bold step because I have to do everything I can to ensure my children's Jewish futures because I care enough about it." And I thought that was such a powerful lesson from a modern day Moses, that when we care enough, we do it. We just do it. Wishing you all a good Shabbos.